Hey, it's Tim here. Over the weekend, ChatGPT, OpenAI, the company that runs ChatGPT, added the code interpreter for ChatGPT. This is a separate model from GPT-4 that we've been using, or GPT 3.5 if you're using the free version. It's a separate model that is able to do mathematical data analysis because it's using Python behind the scenes. In this video, I put it head to head with Tableau. As ever, let's get stuck in. Okay, so here we are. We're in GPT-4, and if you're wondering how to enable this, you have to go into your settings, and there's a little beta section there. When you click on that, you're able to click on the toggle to enable it, and then it appears up here on the top right-hand side. I've actually been using plugins already. The plugins have been around for a while, but Code Interpreter is a new feature, and that's available here. And you have to choose one of the models. If you use plugins, for example, you're not able to use the Code Interpreter. So these are the plugins that I've been playing around with. I found them extremely useful for various things that I do, but I can't use those plugins if I'm trying to use Code Interpreter. At some point, I'm hoping ChatGPT enables the capability to use plugins and the Code Interpreter, because then you could do some really crazy things. Okay, so I'm going to put my face up here. Now, what I want to do is see if I can do the basic analysis on this dashboard. This is the default dashboard that ships with Tableau. And so what I want to do is try and see how close can we get to some of these numbers, okay? And is the analysis that it's going to do actually up to snuff? Is it going to work? Is it reliable? There's already a couple of glaring issues with this whole process. For example, the only way that I'm going to be able to do this is to upload my data to OpenAI. And for most people, that's already a big no-no. You shouldn't be doing this with work data, with any data that you don't trust. I'm doing it with Superstore because it's sample data. This is the demo data that comes with Tableau. So we're happy to use that. So what I always like to do is to discover the features that ChatGPT uses by simply asking it, hey, can I do this thing? So, hi, can you analyze data for me? Okay. And this is actually one of the big things that's been in tweet threads. And I'm always like, listen, this tool is not going to take over your job, right? Like, these tools are driven by intent, and they don't have the autonomy to come up with that intent without being given some sort of instruction. So as long as these tools don't sort of just go off and decide to do things, which, by the way, if they did, the world would be panicking, because then they could go off and decide to take over things that people are concerned about. But nonetheless, here we are. So this is what it can do. What is the nature of your data? What are the key variables? Are there any specific questions you're trying to answer? Also, if you have the data ready, can you upload it here and we can get started? So I absolutely do have the data set. I actually have it on my desktop. So we'll go ahead, we'll bring it in. You'll see me dragging it in here, and I'll just put it inside of the text box, and I'll say, okay, here is the data. Okay. Let's just have that conversation, and you'll see that it's working. Now, this is the crazy thing. When it says it's working, it just says, hey, look, finish working. And if you actually expand this box, it's going to type out a bunch of things. It's going to tell me that it understands what's in the data. And this is already pretty impressive. I mean, I saw this and I was like, wow, this is pretty interesting. And so what we can do is we can actually open this up, and you can see what it does. It wrote the Python for this. So import pandas as PD. So it basically gives it an alias. Then it loads the data using that alias. So PD, read the Excel. This is the file. And it's essentially mounting that this file that we've uploaded. And it's able to then, load up the headers. And that's what it's basically using. And then this is what's crazy. It's actually done some initial analysis. It's actually gone to see, like, okay, what can we get here? Here's the customer information. And so it's gone and got customer ID, customer name, customer segment. It's gone and got the order information, and it's got that kind of nicely grouped up. It's got some country, region specific information, subcategory. But ultimately, all it's doing is just listing the fields. There's nothing sort of, crazy about this. It's just, I think this is just the order the data comes in. So far, so good. We know it has the data. Now we can start to ask it the basic questions. And so the basic question I'm going to ask, and I've checked that this is the right version of Tableau, the right file, because each version of Tableau comes with its own version of Superstore. I've checked it, so we should be getting exact numbers. So I'm just going to ask it, what was the total sales in this entire data set? So let's go ahead and do that. Will it pass the first test? What was the total sales in this entire data set? So I'm giving it context, and I'm giving it sort of a purpose. So let's go ahead. We've given it intent. Let's see what it comes up with. There we go. Now It's done it in euros. I don't know if that's what we wanted. I had it in pounds and there was nothing in the file suggesting that it was euros, but 2,938 and 89, 2,938 and 89.06. Oh God, is it correct to be doing that? I mean, I'm going to assume it's correct. If I just go into the sheet, you probably want to know, well, how do I know it's correct? Let's go into the sheet and let's just right click format. We'll just go ahead and say measure values. We'll just choose a number custom. We'll add 2 decimal places. Okay, actually that's not going to work because it's the sales value, sorry, that I need to actually adjust here. So we'll go currency custom, 2 decimal places, and it's a little bit small, so we need to make it larger, 0.062. So it was actually correct, 0.06. That's what it's got there, 2 decimal places. Okay, we trust it, it works, it's done the total. Pretty interesting, okay? That's pretty basic. I'm going to assume it can do the other things. Let's go ahead and ask it the profit ratio. Now, the profit ratio is more complex because what it has to do is it has to go and do the calculation for profit. It's only got the base data. The profit ratio is not in this data set. So it has to go and figure out the margin. Then it has to aggregate everything and come to this percentage. So let's go ahead and just check those fields. So you can see here there is no profit. There's a profit value, but there's no profit ratio. So let's go ahead and say, ask it, what was the profit ratio across the entire data set as a percentage? I'm being specific about percentage because I think it does help it sort of get things better. And actually that's how that's how the number is sort of actually shown. So let's go ahead and see how long this takes. And we'll look at the working as well. 12.69, absolutely nailed it. So let's 12.69. Let's just go back into this. I want to see if this is being rounded up, and I actually don't know about it. So let's go ahead. Let's go into the profit ratio. This is a percentage, 12.69. That is so good. I don't know why that makes me happy, but this is crazy because previously this was not the case. Okay. So this means that for every €1, it still thinks it's euros. In sales, approximately this amount of profit, which is perfect. So okay, it's done the basic maths. This discount is the average discount across the data set. So let's go ahead and ask it that. What was the average discount across the entire data set? So this is a difficult one because the context isn't always clear. When you do averages, you have to like assume something. And in this case, I think it's done the right thing. It's gone across the entire data set, and I think it's just aggregated it all down as Tableau would have done 10.31. Again, I think this is going to be correct. I think we can confidently say this is pretty easy for this thing to do. And if we say this is a percentage, 10.31 is the exact answer that Tableau has. So at least at face value, this top level here, easy stuff for ChatGPT. I'm not even going to bother with the others because those are just sums. It's going to get it right. Okay, now we get a little bit harder. Okay, now I want to try and see if I can get some of the information that I'm getting in these charts because these are sort of more complex questions. Okay, and I don't want to just do that. I want to go in here and pick a filter. So we'll go ahead, select central. So we'll narrow this down to central. And we'll give it a time range. Let's go ahead and say that we want to go from the 1st of this day. And what I'll do is I'll copy these dates into ChatGPT when I do the query. And on top of that, I want to know the value for Germany. Okay, so Germany, Bavaria here. And I think it's, oh, this is interesting. So this is a region. So this is I need to go in and be specific about what exactly this is. This is a region. Yes. So Germany, province. Bavaria is a province in this particular concept. So state/province. So what I'm going to need to ask ChatGPT, and I need to kind of be specific here because I think it really does want you to be this specific, is I need to ask it in Bavaria for the central, for the specific date and time, what was the total sales? Okay, so this is going to be a little bit hard, but let's do one thing actually. Let's go in here, and if I just duplicate this as a cross tab, it will give me this field, and I can just go out here and can I copy this? I can edit the alias. I cannot spell, so I want to grab this and just say, okay, cool. So go back to the overview, and then let's say, okay, what was the total sales in central region, paste that in Bavaria in Germany, between the dates, let's go ahead. This is a little bit of a tricky one, so I hope I get this right. Between the dates, this one, and let's get this out. This is boring to watch, I'm sure, but hopefully you're all still with me here. And that. Now, am I missing anything? Total sales for Bavaria, Germany. I've got no other. I don't want to click my face. I don't want anything else. Everything is good. Okay, we can just go ahead here and say, okay, what was the total sales in Central Region, Bavaria and Germany between these two dates? Okay, here we go. Moment of truth. What's it going to do? I've given it 2 dates. I've given it all the other context. That is like an interaction. That's why I think this is a more complex question. There's a lot to get right in there. And here we go. Now, you see here, this is interesting. The total sales in Central Region, specifically in Bavaria, Germany, between those 2 dates was 24,000 euros. Now, that doesn't look right, because did I give it the right data? Oh no, it's got it right. 24,651. Jeez, this. I'm sorry if anyone's religious. I apologize. I'll try and keep it clean here. That is nuts. Wow. Okay. That just blew my mind away. I cannot believe it got that right. Let's look at the working. I mean, I don't know Python, so I don't know what I'm going to be able to do here, but this is absolutely nuts. So it's gone and got the data, and it's written what looks like fairly simple Python here. It's gone and basically, it's like it's written SQL saying, hey, this is the information, go get this and figure it out. And by the way, it's been doing this all along. So if you're not familiar with Python, it's basically been sort of building this up. So you could also use this as a really nice way to sort of go backwards and figure things out. What is alarming is that, and I think this is why companies like Tableau are really, really worried about this technology, is that the threat isn't this. The threat isn't that it can do this. This is not the threat. The threat is that the interface for how we do data analysis might be changing right in front of our eyes. Everything I've done has not been drag and drop here in Tableau. Just imagine, just to build out that chart, to build everything here, would have taken out more time than typing the questions. And I'm pretty good at Tableau. I can confidently say that it would take me less time to type it than it would to build what's in front of me, even if I was racing and trying to do everything really as fast as I can. The other thing is that this little box here, anyone can use. Anyone can type into that. It doesn't just take me, a data analyst. It takes anyone who has a basic skill set of asking good questions. That is an important skill. Can use this search box. So in my mind, the innovation behind OpenAI, all these AI models, is not the models. It's actually the interface that allows anyone to use them well. That is actually a really hard thing to do. In OpenAI, I've done a lot of work to train these models. So this to me is the innovation. Tableau, everyone, Power BI, all these products, they're racing towards AI. You might think they're racing there because, this is the next big thing. No, they're racing there because I think they all see this little box as the biggest threat to their product. If they can't get their product into this box in the next 5 years, they might as well give up right now, because someone out there is doing exactly that. And it's actually alarmingly good at being specific about certain things. Now, this is where tools like Ask Data kind of went down, but they were doing something which wasn't as good as some of these models. And the key thing to remember here is that OpenAI have had a massive investment in technology to get to the point where they could build the model that is what we're using here. They've had lots of money pumped into them by Microsoft and lots of other investors to get to where they are today, to be able to then ship this model out to companies. The actual model, the final model they build, is very easy and portable for them to share with companies and deploy. The hard thing is training it, and that takes time, people, resources, and a lot of hardware that pretty much only NVIDIA makes. So this is pretty crazy. I just cannot believe this. So we've seen it answer questions. Let's see what it can do with charts. Let's go ahead. I want to go to a different dashboard just because I'm interested in this. Okay, so let's ask it for a sales by product category broken down by year and month. Okay, so let's do that. Let's go back to this and say, hey, we don't like tables, but we'll ask for one. Hey, can you build me a table showing sales by product category with years as a subheading and months as columns along the top. So I've put some information here about how I want to see the data, and let's go ahead and see what it does. So it's going to have to do the processing first, but then it's going to have to visualize it. So because I'm asking for a table, it could print the table, to be fair, as text, so maybe it doesn't have to. But here we go. Let's have a look. Category, year. Oh, this is interesting. Okay. Oh my word. Oh God, it's doing it. So then the next question is this number correct? 6751 for furniture, 2020 Jan. Let's go ahead. 6751, 6752. Oh, I'll give it. That's just a round up. That is remarkable. That is I cannot believe it got that right. I know it sounds so simple. You're probably thinking, Tim, this isn't that sensational. Like, no, but it is, because all I did was type it in and it nailed it. It nailed it. And I'm comparing against a finished solution. I'm literally drawing the gap between you doing this yourself and typing the question. That is ultimately what is groundbreaking here. And so far, it's got everything right. There's not been a single mistake in this entire pipeline. This is pretty crazy. Now, it did what I thought it would do, which is it didn't actually do any sort of visualization. You can see here, it's just literally just done a pivot table, and it's actually printed the result as I thought it would here. And then it's just basically gone and styled it in HTML, which is even nicer. Okay. And it says the values in the euros. We know that's wrong. I could have corrected that earlier, but we didn't bother. Okay. It's passed that test. Nice. Okay. We'll ask for this. Sales and profit by product names. Okay, this is a difficult one. So let's just grab this. I'll try and give it less information this time. So can it show us sales and profit by product names? Oh, this is really difficult. So this is all about the art of typing the good prompt. So wow, how am I going to do this? What I'm going to do is I'm going to put Tableau on another screen. And I'm going to put ChatGPT here. And what we're going to do is I'm going to type the prompt in front of you so you can see what I'm typing. So I'll say, can you build a scatter plot? I want it to show sales and profit by product names with category and subcategory breakdowns in rows, nested, and then what is on the top? What is that? What is that official terminology? Let's just go. I think this is customer segment. Yes, correct. So we want segment, and then segment as column sections. Okay, so this is a slightly more ambiguous thing because I've asked it for a scatter plot, but I'm talking about rows and things being nested, and then the segment as column sections. Let's go ahead and hit enter. Let's see. This is tough because my prompt could have been bad. I don't think it's that bad. Probably has typos, but let's wait and see. I'm not going to do the working. I'm not going to show the working. I always like to look at the working afterwards. Oh, it stopped. So what is going on here? I think what it's doing is it's potentially firing up another thing. Oh, wow. Okay. Yeah, it got busy. Okay, so here we go. So what did it do? It imported matplotlib by pyplot. So it's imported a library and it's imported Seaborn. And then it's commented it out. So it has map, scatter plot, create facets. So Seaborn seems to be able to do some of this segmentation. So hold on. Okay, and it's created it, and then it's basically kind of pulled the chart, and that's what we've got below here. But did it do it correctly? So we've got corporate, consumer, home office. Yeah. Okay. Now, what it didn't do nicely is this thing here. So what it did is it kind of said each scatter plot is going to be a subset of the total. So it didn't put them along the left. That is something that it kind of is confusing, and I thought this would be confusing, but it's not done a bad job of giving me the alternative. You know, I can still see the outliers, so I can see the outliers clearly here. In many ways, it's maybe made it easier for me to do the analysis, because in Tableau, these would be in one line. Just to show you what I'm comparing against, I'm comparing it against the bottom chart here, and that is a pretty interesting take on that. Isn't exactly what I wanted, because I was starting with something that was already, articulated. The trick here is going to be prompt, and I think if I did a better prompt, it maybe would get closer to the answer. Also, I'm not sure if the thing I'm asking for is specifically possible. Having a table-like structure on one column, on one sort of axis, and then like a section set up on the other. And it got some of that, but it's not perfect. And it goes and explains what it's done. And again, you've always got the ability to show the working. So that is truly remarkable. I don't know what you're using this for. If you're using this, let me know what you think. There is a couple of issues with it. It still can't do all the things you would expect. So if I go ahead and ask it, hey, can you plot a map with each data point sized by cells at the level of cities in the data set? So I've sort of asked it in a really bad way. There's even a typo in there. I'm sorry for the inconvenience, but currently in this environment, I'm unable to access internet services, which includes mapping services such as Google Maps or any other geolocation service that could be used. Therefore, I'm unable to create a map plot for your data. Fine. However, I can guide you to this using Python libraries such as GeoPandas and Folium. So it's basically saying, hey, you can do this on your own environment. And by the way, this is the code to go and get. There's a little bit of geocoding that it does. So you see it takes the city column and it uses geolocate using the latitude and longitude to basically get the exact location. And then it's able to then import Folium, which takes that information, and for each row in the data set, it's actually able to pass that and then create the map. So this is telling you how it would work if it had access to that. But the other crazy thing you got to remember is that ChatGPT is firewalled from the internet. Everything you get back, it's not able to search the internet. It can only use its large language model or model that's built into it for everything that it does. In more recent features, they've added this ability to browse the internet with Bing, but they actually had to disable that because it was doing things they didn't like. But in Bing, you can actually get it to go ahead and still do that. So in here in ChatGPT, it's completely sort of isolated still, and that's how it's working. Anyway, what do you think? I think the biggest threat to pretty much everything is this search box. What is incredible is this tool, if I didn't expose the working every single time, what I'd be seeing is just answers, okay? And you might be wondering, well, what is the confidence level of some of this work? Well, I walked away with pretty high confidence. The things it couldn't do, it told me, and the things it didn't quite get right were based on the prompts. So that's another sort of interesting angle. But yeah, if I'm Tableau, I can absolutely understand why they're racing to build something like Tableau GPT, because again, if in 5 years your product doesn't fit in this text box, I'm certain something will come and eat your lunch. Anyway, thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next one.